In today's video, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man, which includes every variation of Spider-Man, including Miles Morales, including Tom Holland's Spider-Man, the MCU version, because everything is a canon event. It's all one big Spider-Verse, so the MCU stuff, the Sony Spider-Man universe stuff, it's all connected in a roundabout way. There's been a lot of new details come out over the weekend, ironically coinciding with the release of Across the Spidey-Verse, which grossed just over $200 million for an animated movie. That is insane. So yo, what is freaking good YouTube? Wish you here. If you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, DC, Kaiju, Monsterverse-based stuff that we cover on a daily basis. If you could subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on. Check us out on Instagram at Wish to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful face. Check us out on Twitter at Wish2D. Right, let's get into this video. So, it's no coincidence that I think Amy Pascal, she's always going to consult with Sony and Marvel Studios when it comes to using Spider-Man because she's kind of in control still, regardless. But it is interesting how they went ahead and confirmed that Miles Morales is coming to live action ahead of Across the Spidey-Verse coming out. Now, we knew due to Miles Morales appearing in Spider-Man PS4, then getting his own game, that Sony made a really big investment back in '98. They spent $8 million to buy Spider-Man, and it's literally paying their investors dividends yearly with the amount of money they make from it. So Sony has done an incredible job crossing Miles Morales from the comic book to the video game to the cinema because he's coming to live action. Now, in Homecoming, his cousin, or nephew was it, teased Miles Morales. So we know Miles Morales will appear in a movie at some point, and Amy Pascal has said that. She also confirmed that Gwen Stacy is getting an animated series. No. Okay, if you want to do that, what they really should do, bring Gwen Stacy to live action. The voice actress, Haley Steinfeld, make her Gwen Stacy. They can do it. I get it. She's Hawkgirl. But realistically, there is something called the multiverse, or more precisely, the Spideyverse, which essentially will be every variation of Spider-Man. So we know that Kingpin is going to be essentially one of the villains for Spider-Man 4 because it's looking that way. So he's going to be in the Echo TV show. He appeared in Hawkeye, and it's looking like he's going to be the mayor of New York by the time we get to Spider-Man 4, which people presumed would be coming out in the summer of 2024. I don't think that's happening. Even if they start shooting early 2024, it's not going to happen. You're more likely looking at Spider-Man 4 coming out summer 2025. At least we know with the new sharing arrangement that Spider-Man, Tom Holland, will appear in Spider-Man 4. Kang's Dynasty, if they still call it that, depending on what happens with the Jonathan Majors case. Secret Wars, Spider-Man 5, Spider-Man 6. So it's believed that he will be getting 5 movies, and because of the amount of money that these Spider-Man movies make, if you look at Far From Home, did over $1 billion. If you look at No Way Home, did over $1 billion because of Andrew and Toby. It's fair to say he's gonna be making at least $20 million per movie, if not more, because he's one of the few actors that Marvel now have in their possession that actually can sell movies. I mean, Tom Holland misses outside of this. Tom Holland only realistically does great as Spider-Man. I hate to say it. He needs a new agent. He needs to fire his agent because his agent keeps getting him projects outside of the MCU. Realistic. So, Into the Spideyverse 2, aka Across the Spideyverse, literally shown us that Toby and Andrew's movies are canon to the Spideyverse, and the Spideyverse is a subset of the MCU version of Spider-Man, which means it's all canon. And is it a coincidence that a lot of Across the Spideyverse can, in a roundabout way, be foreshadowed in stuff that's already happened in the MCU? The fact they bring up Doctor Strange and the crazy stuff they did there. Because what you gotta understand is Amy Pascal oversees everything, and she does talk to Kevin Feige about all the plans they're doing over there. So I get it. The Venom movies get a bit of stick, but Madam Web, and it's all going to cross over. So it is apparent that they will make Miles Morales the main Spider-Man within the Sony live-action Spideyverse, with Tom Holland Spider-Man crossing over eventually. Now, I do find it interesting that every single person online seems to think they know the articulated information about the contract. Yeah, the Sony Spider-Man contract that is shared with Sony and with Marvel, it's not as clean cut as what people seem to think. And realistically, no one knows exactly what this contract is. But I do find it very funny how people keep coming out with stuff. So the main plot for the alleged Spider-Man 4 is there's going to be a massive element that Kingpin is essentially either going to be the mayor of New York, or his motivation will be to become the mayor of New York, either in Echo, or there'll be some mayor campaign that will be to crack down on the work of the street vigilantes who could threaten his rule. So we know that Daredevil is going to have some part to play in this. We know that Kingpin here in the Daredevil series. So it's going to look like whatever's happening with the Sony Spider-Verse and MCU, Kingpin has to kind of be attached to it in a roundabout way, kind of ish with Daredevil, but more with Tom Holland. So recently it came out, and Tom Holland basically did a Tom Holland, basically confirmed the new deal's being signed already, because you don't start talking to talent about a project until everyone's signed on. You don't tell them the whole plot for a movie. You don't tell them what the script is. You don't tell them anything until they've already signed on. So the fact that Tom Holland confirms that he and Zendaya will return for Spider-Man 4, because, you know, we've seen the ending of No Way Home. She's got the necklace. And essentially the way they're going to get round it is she is going to think Spider-Man gave her the necklace. And then eventually she'll figure out, oh, it's Peter Parker. Peter Parker's Spider-Man. Because they're not going to break a canon event. I mean, realistically, Tom Holland's Spider-Man has had at least 7 canon events throughout his arc. So this also came out, which is kind of nonsense. Most people on the internet believe anything. Spider-Man 4 has put hold. They put a hold on Spider-Man 4 development because of the writer's strike. No, they haven't. They can't do anything because they haven't got a script ready to go. That's why this movie won't release until at least 2025. And they're not going to start shooting. They could still start shooting mid next year or early next year, depending on how long this writer's strike takes. But the last writer's strike lasted 6 months. So to come out and say, yeah, we've put everything on hold to be at one with the writer's strike and support them. You're not supporting them. You can't develop a movie without a script. So the only thing Amy Pascal has done is basically confirm that Tom Holland has signed on by saying, yep, development's on hold because we can't do anything because we can't develop the script without a writer's team. So that's pretty much all has been said. I can say that we've been having meetings. Now, you wouldn't have meetings about a project you're not signed on for. Now, if you remember, after No Way Home, Tom Holland came out and said, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be Spider-Man. That was basically a ploy to get more money. We've put meetings on hold in pause of solitude with the writers. No, you can't do anything without the writers. So the fact that Prowler got a live action suit in across the spot, you don't spend money on a live action suit for a scene that lasted literally like 30 seconds, means Prowler will probably be part of this 3-part trilogy that they will be getting, and apparently Tom Holland wants to play Spider-Man forever. Now, there's so much potential. They should bring in Gwen Stacy into this storyline. They should bring in Black Cat. They should bring in everyone they can bring in. And we know in Across the Spideyverse, they did mention the Sinister Six. And as we keep saying, everything is adjacency. Everything is canon to the Spideyverse, whether it's MCU or whether it's Sony or not. We know Madam Web is going to have Peter Parker in it and MJ and all this kind of stuff. So just because Zendaya is returning as MJ doesn't mean Gwen Stacy can't appear at some point. The Spider-Man franchise, if you put it together as a Spideyverse as a whole, we all know it's building up to a Geddon, the Spidey-Geddon event, which is cool, which is like, I guess you could say their equivalent to Endgame. I hate how everything always has to be Endgame. And of course, there has been rumors saying that Miles Morales will debut in Spider-Man 4. I can and I can't see that happening because everything suggests that Miles Morales will be the Spideyverse version of Spider-Man, the main Spider-Man on the Sony side of things. So if they're going to allow each other to cross over, which it's more mostly Sony because Sony owns the IP, but Marvel kind of plays nice because they're not allowed to use Spider-Man without Sony's permission, so they've got to. So that would be a really cool way to have Miles Morales appear at the end of Spider-Man 4, because the way Beyond the Spideyverse should end, if you're saying beyond, then we've already seen with the Spot traversing through the Spidey multiverse, appearing in Venom in the shop. We already know they've broken Beyond the Spideyverse already. So if they have Beyond the Spideyverse come out a year, it's supposed to come out next year, before Spider-Man 4, in terms of canon, Miles Morales could appear right at the end of Spider-Man 4, and it would be super freaking dope to have Peter Parker Spider-Man team up with whoever they cast as Miles Morales live action. That would be freaking insane because It'd just be like Spider-Man PS4 all over again. And Spider-Man Marvels 2, which did debut and was actually in the movie. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a new gameplay in the movie. Spoilers, I don't know if you see it. So the Spider-Man universe, it's looking pretty damn dope. And there's so many characters they could bring across. Now, what's interesting is Sarah Jessica Parker, who is famous for Sex and the City. She's been liking some posts of her playing Jan Riley. People are fan casting Daniel Radcliffe as Ben Riley, and people are literally fan casting everyone to be Miles Morales. That is pointless me saying it because there's so many fan castings for Miles Morales, but that will be a big role because that's essentially going to be the face of the Sony Spideyverse canonized, whatever you want to call it, I guess. So if you're a Spider-Man fan, it's going to be a good few years. The trilogy for Tom Holland Spider-Man, and I'm sure there's going to be multiple Miles Morales movies as long as they do well. It's not a gimme just because it's a Spider-Man movie, but we have to see. If it does well, they'll keep banging them out. But it's going to be interesting to see Tom Holland Spider-Man traverse through the college life as always wanted because there's so many storylines they can do. And it is cool that they are going to have Kingpin becoming mayor or campaigning to become mayor. And a lot of these plot details I can see being realistic because it's already happened. It's already in your face. We just don't know when it's coming. Summer 2025 would be the earliest because the writer's strike is going to screw over a lot of stuff. It sure sounds like Steinfeld is up for a standalone movie, Spider-Woman movie. This is like my dream job. Sign me up over and over again, she said about doing voice work. I got to be comfortable, and it's a dream to be in a space that feels so comfortable but also so creative. I'm free, just excited to be part of it. She would so be down to play Gwen Stacy in live action if that's where they want to go. I'd rather see her playing Gwen Stacy than actually see him play a Hawk Girl, although she was pretty cool. So like always, guys, let us know, are you hyped for Spider-Man 4? Who would you cast as Miles Morales in the Marvel MCU Spideyverse universe, whatever you want to call it? So like always, guys, I'll catch you in another video very soon. Catch you later.